Okay. How do you have 4 fucking bands? I don't know how that works. But we are going to go to our next guest here in just a few seconds. We are going to call them on the telephone because, of course, the only way they can join us is on the phone. Actually, we will do this. We will go to Jafar. It's quite the deal today. And we are going to go to our next guest. He's going to join us here in just a few seconds here on our big program. And we are also going to go see if we can find the bunny. I don't know if the bunny is anywhere to be found. By the way, our guest, before we bring him on here, you have a hell of a setup there, my friend, with the background. The background is great. Welcome to the broadcast. How are you, my friend? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I can't hear you. You might need to make a couple of adjustments. It is Skype, so that will give me a little bit of a time to see if I can find the damn bunny and get her in here. There we are. I've got you. You sound excellent. That mic is doing a good job there for you, my friend. How are you?
Great, thanks.
So we are gonna. I literally typed in bunny instead of her actual username on Skype. That is hilarious. Okay, we are gonna go try to find Lena the bunny and bring her in here. This show today has been just kind of off the rails and off and running. But we do have our next guest with us. By the way, like I said, that background you've got there is a hell of a deal. You've got quite the setup there, my friend.
Yeah, it's just, kind of makes it, more focused on me, right? Rather than whatever's going to be in the back.
Yes.
I'm obviously trying to hide some things back there. So.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine, So tell us a little bit about your background. Give us a brief introduction here, my friend. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So basically, I immigrated to the United States about 20 years ago, originally from Pakistan. I just came here as a university student, like a lot of people, and I'd always been, very much interested and passionate about music. So actually, when I first, came to the U.S., this was in 99, 2000. One of the first things that I purchased was a guitar, and it wasn't my first guitar, but it was that much of a priority that I got that even before I got my books. So and my roommate, he also kind of played guitar, but at that time I was very much not very skilled at it, but we would get together and jam to like Metallica and whatever famous songs were coming out at that time, Linkin Park, etc. So this was at a time when I was, much more of a music fan than anything. It was not anywhere in my mind to, actually consider myself as a musician or someone who makes music, etc. So, I just kept absorbing what was going on. That time, the early 2000s was very hot for rock music. Great new bands were coming out. There was a lot of cool shows, bands like Creed, Incubus, Linkin Park, and I used to love these bands, and they were very inspiring to me. And then also, obviously, the more classic early '90s stuff like the Pearl Jams and the Stone Temple Pilots, etc.
That's awesome.
But at this time, I'm really into like the new metal stuff. So it was around 2005. After I was done with college and I was doing jobs here and there, that I thought that, hey, maybe I should give this music thing a try because I'm so into it, and my playing has gotten better over the years. So I just downloaded some software on my PC. I think it was called Acid or something.
Yes, indeed. I remember that program. Yes.
Yep. So it was a digital audio workstation or whatever. And then, since I was skilled with computers, so I got like the interface and set everything up and started recording my guitar. And I got some, drum software. I think it was called PC Drummer or something. It was very basic. Like if you listen to the sample sounds, they sound like they're from the 80s. So, I went about and I just, I just started recording stuff on pre-programmed drums, and I was like, hey, this doesn't sound too bad. Maybe I should take this further. And um, you know, at that time, I hooked up with a friend of mine who was a lead guitar player, and then we actually recorded an album for the local Pakistani audience. But at that time, the music scene over there was so hot and it was so competitive. Rock bands were popping up like, you wouldn't believe that. We were just like, it's just going to be very difficult to get heard. And, especially the quality is really high. So I kind of just dropped that at that time. And I went about my, day-to-day work life. So then fast forwarding to 2012, this is when I was in Boston at that time. And I think it was more out of boredom than anything that I went on Craigslist and I said that, hey, I play guitar, I'm looking to join a band, etc. And I met up with this band, like a Boston band. They're called My Own Exile. They're well known in the region. Like they do shows and gigs and they open for big acts and festivals and things like that. So they were doing a side project. So I joined up with them and we just started jamming two days a week. We did this for about 2 to 3 months, and this was like a Stone Temple Pilots tribute band that we did. And because we all used to love that band so much that we would just get a joy out of playing those songs, and there was never really any talk about recording or playing live or anything like that. So we did that for a few months, and then the schedule just sort of got me it just became a little bit cumbersome to keep up with what was going on. And since I wasn't really that interested in pursuing anything, I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna kind of get back to my regular life and stuff. But then I think it was like a year or two later that I realized that playing in that band, I had improved so much as a musician that maybe I should do something about it. And at that time I was like 34, 35. I'm thinking, if I'm ever gonna do something, it's gonna be now. So then I got back into at that time I'd moved to New Jersey, and I went on Craigslist again, and then I found this studio here in New Jersey called Backroom Studios. And I was like, yeah, I'm a rock musician or whatever, and I want to record an album. Can you guys help me out and stuff? They're like, yeah, sure, come on in. And they were super like friendly with me and very supportive, and they hooked me up with musicians and writers and producers, et cetera, et cetera. So actually this guy is he's like a music industry pro. Like he's the guitar tech for the band Deftones, and they're like a famous metal band. And then he himself was in the band called Dillinger Escape Plan.
That's awesome. I interviewed one of the guys from the Dillinger Escape Plan years and years ago on Jiggy Jag TV. So that is awesome.
Yeah. So this guy is one of their rhythm guitarists. I don't know if he's one of the original members, but he's one hell of a guitar player. And he used to perform live with them. So he hooked me up with one of his producer friends, and we recorded a whole album. And at that time, the band was called Soul Disaster.
Okay.
I was going for a real like metal vibe kind of thing, and it's up on like Spotify and all that stuff. So it was real funny experience that I was actually planning on. I had a preset list of songs that I wanted to record with a drummer, and he hooked me up with this drummer who's like he's also like an industry pro. Like he plays with Frank Iero from My Chemical Romance, and so he's really good at what he does.
Got all sorts of people holy smokes.
Yeah, so it just kind of happened for me, like one step after the next. So what happened was, it's a really funny story. So I get in the studio with this guy. His name is Matt. So, and the producer's like, all right, let's do a little sound check. So he just hit the record button, and Matt started playing something, and I started playing something, and we didn't stop for like an hour. We went straight for an hour, and that 1 hour of impromptu, spontaneous playing turned into an album, and that's the Soul Disaster album. If you ever want to check it out, it's on the major platforms. And I was like, wow, I can't believe we did this. So all I had to do was track bass and vocals, and I was done. So and this was around 2017. So I uploaded it on Spotify, and I'm like checking it every day. I'm like, zero plays, zero plays, zero plays. I'm like, why isn't anybody listening to this? And I was just like, maybe it's just not, something people like, and I just kind of gave up on that right there. I had no concept of, getting, a PR, company involved, or doing any promotions for it or anything like that. So I just forgot about it altogether. And I was like, oh, I guess it's just, what's happened. So this was 2017. So then, I had a kid and everything, and I got family life and everything. And coming forward to now, when this lockdown thing happened, a lot of musicians actually went back into the den of like writing and stuff, because they, especially the ones who toured regularly, they weren't. And if you check online, on a lot of musicians are doing at-home concerts and things like that, and that kind of triggered me into thinking, oh, this is going to give me some spare time, since we're going to be home a lot, so maybe I'll get back into this music thing, just so I'm browsing the internet on Fiverr, and I find this writer producer guy.
That's awesome that you were
Yeah.
you were browsing Fiverr.
Yep.
Go ahead, my friend.
So I find this writer producer guy. His name is Rezasa. I think he's like, I don't know how old he is, but he's like a guy in Indonesia who's a pro writer producer. And I heard some of his samples, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. This is just the kind of music I like. And I wonder what it would be like to make an album with this person. So I sent him a message, and I'm like, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing, and et cetera, et cetera. I want to do some music. And he's like, yeah, let's go for it and everything. So I started collaborating with him. And that is what came out to be those songs that I've sent you. Excuse me, Pain and Gone Away and Daylight.
Yeah.
And yeah, that album, in my view, has turned into something special, because it's like the culmination of all my years of, making music kind of casually, learning things, learning how to sound better, and learning how to be a better performer and everything. And this is like the culmination of all of that. So yeah, that's kind of how I arrived at this this stuff.
Awesome. Well, Samantha has joined us. Samantha, do you have any questions for our guest? He has got quite the background, Middle Eastern music scene, all sorts of weird things going on, and he's just managed to just put himself in the right places, my friend. Uh-oh. I can't hear you, Samantha. I can see your lips moving.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. I've got you.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, I had to take out the headphones,
It
happens. You know how it goes. Yeah. So how do you think it's been as far as like with the Middle Eastern music combining with the U.S. Music scene?
Oh, so I'd actually I've always focused on rock, hard rock, alternative rock. And when I was doing the music, like the Eastern audiences, we did obviously add in the flair, the local flair and things, because we wanted to appeal to the local scene. But it turned out that with me, that since I'd heard so much like Western rock, my style of singing was more suited for that. Because if you ever listen to like more traditional Eastern music, the singers are just like going all over the place, and their styles are like very vibrato heavy, and I was like, okay, I'm not that kind of a singer. My vocal style matches the most in the style of Eddie Vedder, the singer for Pearl Jam, and I guess you could say Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots. Those types of singers, because they're kind of baritone, and it's they have more of a scratch voice, and they put a lot of feel in their singing, and it's just what I grew up listening to. So that kind of style didn't suit very well with the Eastern audiences, because they whatever's is successful there is like the more traditional style, where they're just doing stuff like that, right? So I was like, I'll stick with what's suited more for my style based on my influences, and my influences were late 80s, early 90s, your Guns N' Roses, Pearl Jam, Metallica, Nirvana, and then came the Foo Fighters, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, and that's hope that answers your question.
Oh yeah, that answers it. It does.
So how do we find you on social media and websites and all these things, my friend? Because you've got quite the background here and everything.
Yeah, I'm not the best person at when it comes to making an online presence and everything, because I just think that there's so many mediums and then so many people there. It's just, in my mind, it just makes me wonder, is it even going to have much of an impact? But I do have a YouTube page, and if you just type in Dark Sahara on YouTube, and somewhere in there you're gonna, I'm not sure what the rank is and everything, but it should come up. And then I have a SoundCloud page also, and that should also come up. I wonder if Dark Sahara is going to do it or not, but I do have a SoundCloud page where I post all my songs, and then I just have the 2 songs, Pain and Gone Away, up on Spotify and Amazon Music, but they do work with Alexa, so if you ever want to hear them, you just say, hey Alexa, play this song by that, it'll play it. So other than that, yeah, I haven't done much besides that for my online presence.
Okay.
Awesome.
IG might be a good way to go, though. Just like you can do little reels and clips and everything. That's what I have all my artists do, and the engagement really works. Like people really.
Oh yeah, Instagram. Yeah, I do have an Instagram account as well, but it hasn't really done much for me. I mean, it just seems like these platforms, they're not really doing much for independent artists, in the sense that if you don't spend money to promote your video, they give it that initial boost, like 20, 30 views, and then if people are not sharing it, liking it, and watching the whole thing, then these platforms just don't suggest your videos any further. And I had that happen to me with YouTube. I posted a lot of videos on YouTube, and every single one of them, YouTube helped me get up to around 70, 80 views, and then it stops. And this is for videos that are way years old as well. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll buy some promotions or something. And I did. I spent a little bit of money to do that. And those promotions just get you a fixed number of plays, and then it stops right there. So basically what these platforms are doing is that they test out a video very early in its, life. And then unless people are watching the whole thing, liking, subscribing, and sharing them, those videos are going to get ranked out of the searches. So these platforms have done, nothing for me in that regard. So then I was looking for alternatives to get my music heard, and then I've been looking for Fiverr. There's options and opportunities there. I honestly didn't even know that you could hire a radio station to play your music, but fortunately I found a way
there
to
is
do that.
there is all sorts of things that are going on on the internet. But I'll tell you, you have a very, very interesting story, and just an amazing background. And I thank you for coming on today and chatting with me and Samantha. This has definitely been a fun deal. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, sure. Glad to be here. Talk to you guys.
Well, but before we let you go, once again, run it down for me. How do we get in touch with you on the web and everything else?
Oh, yeah. It's gonna, Skype is probably the best way to get in touch with me. The other way would be, I guess, my email. Yeah, I mean, you'd literally have to write it down to actually get in touch with me. Unfortunately, I don't have...
Well, we will do this. You've got my information. Send me over all the information that you want people to know about, and when we post this interview to our website at kjagradio.com, we'll include all that, and we'll put this out on social media and everything else, and people can get in touch with you that way, my friend.
Okay, yeah. I'd appreciate that.
Yes. Well,
Thanks.
I appreciate it, and I got to get to our next guest, but thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Thanks
There he goes. And we are going to get into